I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light.
Beyond ATC connected.
The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the light.
Good evening, everyone. Afternoon, actually. Today's flight will take us from Ponta Delgada in Azores to Faro airport. Once more, there's an issue on your upper left screen. There's not really much I can do. This is the aircraft's ID that's messed up. Instead of saying just the flight model, it says ATC COM, etc. So it is the A330-900 or A330NEO. So this is the Headwind A330. This is an aircraft designed for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, so I'm not expecting everything to work, nor is this 3D model designed to be looked into closely, as you will see. So starting with our cockpit or external inspection, sorry. So this is a TAP Portugal CS Charlie Sierra Tango Uniform Kilo. So we're inspecting the P2 covers as well as the static ports, landing gear lights, or landing lights more likely. Engine could be better modeled, but looks clean at least. Massive Rolls-Royce engine. And as you will see here, the 3D model for the gear could be better. It's not really designed to be looked into that close, because remember, this plane was designed for MSFS 2020. Olá, boa tarde, Inês, tudo bem? This plane was designed for Flight Simulator 2020, and we're flying it in 2024. So not a lot of things are modeled in. And of course, when this plane was designed for 2020, we didn't have airplane walk around. So if you look from afar, it looks fine, but once you get closer, you'll start noticing that it's not that accurate of a model. I find that the textures are also very shiny, so they're not really designed for the simulator, and is missing a lot of features, of course. But anyway, we'll take this big bird to Faro It's not exactly the flight for this type of aircraft, but TAP Portugal does fly these medium hauls flights with the A330 because it's a higher density, there's more passengers, and so they prefer to take, well, they don't prefer to take, sometimes they just arrange the flights to take the A330. The same thing with Madeira, a lot of flights from Madeira to Lisbon on the A330. So not exactly a routine flight, but we'll make it work for sure. So let's go in. All right, this is the Headwind A330 NEO. As you may or may not know, this aircraft is designed based on the A320 NEO from fly-by-wire, so also freeware. This is a freeware airplane designed from another freeware airplane, and from the fact that it's designed from the A320, the overhead panel is not accurate. So this is not the A330 overhead panel by far. This is the A320 overhead panel. The only thing that resembles an A330 is, of course, the flight deck that looks more spacious, wider, and has a third FM seat over there. But other than that, it's just an A320 flying with A330 dynamics and a few differences. But until we get a properly developed and designed A330, this will do. And this is what, this is what we're going to do today. So let's turn on the plane. From earlier tests, I can tell you that there will be some things that are not as good as we are used to. But we've had worse. As you know, I like study level aircraft, not because I don't like to fly the normal non-flight level, study level, but I do think that if there's something you need to learn from flying these planes, see, there's a glitch right there, so it comes from bright to off, but that's a glitch. Or this also doesn't have a weather radar system, but like I was saying, I like study level aircraft. That doesn't mean that some non-study level aircraft don't have a lot to teach us. It's just a matter of preference of how I like to do things, that's all. So we don't have in-depth ATSU or AOC, but we can easily request, just like any other Airbus aircraft, importing the Simbrief flight plan that's already been done on the electronic flight bag. This electronic flight bag is actually pretty good. It's not that complete compared to other planes, but it's pretty good. So we have imported our flight data. Hopefully the levels are just too low. How do I increase the brightness on this? Can I increase? Yeah, here it is. There you go, much better. So I was saying the electronic flight bag is actually pretty good. It's not the best, but it's a freeware aircraft, so you can actually sync this with GSX, which is a plus. And there's some basic calculators. We can, of course, load the charts in here, which is also very good, very useful. So we'll take a look at this in a moment. Let's just prep the flight and we'll get right on it. So let's call ATIS for LPPD. See if we do get it, if it's just a gimmick. And yeah, so nothing will, it's a very basic AOC menu, as you see. Can't request, of course, CPDLC. It's only allowing us to initiate the flight. Some free text and the ATIS. So see if we receive the message. There it is. So D80s is not available. That means it's only working with VATSIM networks, with the VATSIM network. I didn't see the Hoppy connection, but maybe there is. I've just not set it up. Oh, by the way, all these three FMCs, they're cloned, so they're not independent. It also doesn't have a proper secondary flight plan, which is unfortunate. So a lot of limitations with these non-study level aircraft. But anyway, let's initiate our flight with route request, and let's call GSX to load our passengers.
Boarding requested.
Let's go with Ryanair. No, sorry, SATA. SATA, it does the handling in Azores, although it's not accurate, but it's good enough for us today. So let's go to the flight plan. So we are expecting takeoff fuel of 15.8. It's not a long flight. We're expecting runway 12 via beacon 5 Yankee. Well, let's confirm that with, of course, listening to AGIS, since we don't have digital AGIS.
Visibility 10 miles or more scattered at 2,500, temperature 22.14 QNH 1027, landing and departing runway 12, transition level 060, advise on initial contact you have information indicator.
Yeah.
Roman 2 airport information, India 15020, wind 130 at 7, visibility 10 miles or more scattered at 2,500, temperature 22.14 QNH 1027, landing and departing runway 12, transition level 060, advise on initial contact you have information indicator.
Yeah, we've been through this before. This ATC reading is just too much. Too fast. I mean, you can understand the vast majority of it, but it's just too fast. We got the QNH, we got so the passengers are coming. Sorry for the mouse, it's just too fast today. I don't know what's going on. So here come the passengers. I fixed the walk-in. As you remember, the last flight when we arrived, they were just disappearing because there was no waypoints for them to go through. So I fixed that on all gates on this beautiful airport. So let's request our IFR clearance.
Portugal 663 Heavy on our way to Faro Airport.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, Ponta Delgado Tower. Expect runway 12 Beacon 5 Yankee, departures Cork 0264.
Confirm runway 12.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, read by correct, call me back when ready for pushback.
And we got 5 Yankee departure.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy.
Alright, so that's done. Let's just insert the destination data. Should be Gimal 7 Alpha for runway 28. Let's pick the Zulu approach. Gimal 7 Alpha. It's 7 Alpha, right? Yep, 7 Alpha. Via Jepti. We'll see about being via Jepti or not. Alright, so another thing that's not working on this plane is the front left door. For some reason it doesn't open. It never opens on this plane, so it's not a problem with this specific airplane I'm flying today. Headwind just never modeled this door to open for some reason, and so it won't open. There's not even an option on EFB to open it. Anyway, you can see here, if we go to the aircraft for the ground handling, what is it? Right here. So if you go to services, you can see that this door there's an option to door aft, door forward, but no front door or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, only this one, but this is for the right hand side. Same with I believe it opens these two doors, this one and yeah, these two over here, but doesn't open this one for some reason. I think it's a model limitation, not sure. So we're loading 335 passengers, which is a lot, but we're also going to load the fuel here. See, FP is a bit buggy because sometimes I can't press these buttons here. See, I'm pressing the fuel and payload. Oh, there it is. Fuel now. So for the fuel, we're going to go instant. As you know, it's not going to wait for GSX to load it. So fuel is loaded with the expected 16.3. It's what we were expecting for this flight. Yeah, well, a bit beyond. There it is. Block fuel 16.3. It's correct. So I was looking at takeoff fuel. Probably will spend. Yeah, probably will spend about 500 to between 500 and 1,000 kilograms during taxi. We'll see. I'm going to perform a standard 2-engine taxi out. Not going to go for the Seto single engine taxi out. Let's confirm the QNH, which should be 0264. So let's clear and let's press. Ooh, let's get this out of the way, shall we? 0264. 0264. Let's switch to TIRA in auto. Back up. So we got GPS primary. Set this up. We already set for the transition altitude 4,000 feet. Let's turn on the constraints. Seatbelt signs.
Sky Travel 9 Echo Kilo. Exit left of Foxtrot.
Exit left of Foxtrot. Sky Travel 9 Echo Kilo.
Forgot to turn this on. Crew supplies on. Alright, so let's go through the checklist. Cockpit preparation, gear pins and covers have been removed. Fuel quantity, we got 16.3 kilograms on board, 16,300. Seatbelts are on, ADRs are on. By reference, we got 1027 and cross-checked. Cockpit preparation complete. So yeah, this electronic flight bag had some embedded electronic checklists as well. Good afternoon, boa tarde, José from Airport Wings, welcome. So, as a reminder, today we're taking the beautiful A330 NEO to Faro Airport. This is the first leg of our yet another trip around Europe. So after Faro will be Zurich, and after Zurich will be Athens in Greece, and then we'll see where we go. We'll probably go to the Middle Eastern airport because we have not done that in a while. So we'll see. Probably Dubai. Maybe. So this is the Star Alliance Airbus A330 NEO. So passengers have been boarded. Let's begin our preparation for departure. I'm going to turn on track IR. Let me look forward. And there we go. Alright, so let's wait for the flap open. Flap is open.
Ladies and gentlemen from the flight deck, on behalf of myself, your captain, the first officer, and
That's
cabin crew,
way
I'd like to
too
take this
loud.
time to welcome you aboard our flight. We're just wrapping up some paperwork up front here and waiting to see final numbers from the ground crew, then we'll be on our way. Flight attendants will be coming through the cabin shortly with a very important safety briefing. We do ask that you give them your full, undivided attention as
How do
they
I-
do the safety operations of
It's
this
way
Airbus
too loud.
aircraft. We do appreciate your business having you aboard this flight. If there's anything we do to make your flight any more enjoyable, please don't hesitate to ask. Welcome aboard.
Azores 174.
Jesus, if this guy is gonna talk this loud all the entirety of the flight, I'm gonna cut my wrists. Just no volume control for anything. Let me see if there's a volume control here. I mean, it's nice we're hearing the people in the back and all that. It's pretty cool, but the volume is just too loud. Let's see here. No. Same options. No. Oh, this is probably important. Stand by. Let me calibrate this. So this will be idle. Set throttle. This will be climb. This will be manual flex. This will be toga. Alright. Are we good? No reverse on axis. So idle, climb, flex, toga. No, hold on. Idle, climb, flex,
Taxi for departure.
and toga.
Azores 174. Runway 12
Alright.
taxi by Charlie.
Save and apply.
12 taxi via Charlie. Azores 174.
Alright, good call. Well, let's just hope the guy doesn't speak too much during the flight. I'm sure he will, but there's no option for volume here. Let me confirm here. Audio, there it is. So, PTU on draw, passenger, any announcements? Yeah, let's turn them off. We don't need this. Alright. Well, I think we're full ready.
Ready for departure.
Let's just bleed the APU, turn off external power,
74 come to Delgado Tower.
turn off ground control,
Runway 12 clear for takeoff.
and let's
Runway 12
prepare to depart.
174.
So there's no GSX integration. You have to do it manually. Here comes the ground agent. Just confirm doors are closed. They are closed. There's only the locking pin.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Hello. Let's just lock the door. Well, lock the doors and hope they don't have blasters.
Completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Alright, let's request push and start.
663 heavy. At Gate Whiskey 4 request pushback.
Air Portugal 663 heavy. Ponte Delgado Tower. Pushback and engine start approved face east.
Facing east.
Approved. Face east. Air Portugal 663
Locking
heavy.
gear.
Let's just wait for GSX to ask us, and we'll face east as required. We got everything cleared out.
74. Contact Ponte Delgado departure 119.4.
Contact Ponte Delgado departure 119.
See the nose raising a little bit because that's how the pushback tug works, it raises the airplane's nose gear so it can freely move it forward or backwards. No interruption, please. Carry on. So we need to face east. We're just waiting for it to ask us. There we go. So facing east.
Release parking brakes, please.
Parking brakes released.
Commencing push. All engine is clear. Start at wheel.
Starting number 1. It's a very big plane now. It's going to take a moment to... Yeah, these engines, they look chrome. They don't look good. There's our wing walker, only one wing walker. So what do you expect from a freeware airplane, right? Can't really expect too much of it. You just have high standards, and you want to fly in those high standards. That's the only one available. Start number 2. Because once you're flying in a study level airplane, whatever it is, you want to keep that going. Otherwise, you'll lose your hand, right? The same thing about these freeware planes. We know that they're not perfect, but we still want to fly as well as we do the others. Oh, see, one thing I need to do is initialize weights, of course.
Please set parking brakes.
Parking brake set.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
So we get 0 fuel weight 161.8. And we got CG. We got 23.4, 22.5. As for takeoff performance, let's just call our guys out.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
So where's our performance? There it is. Oh, this doesn't even have a takeoff performance. That's going to be a bummer. Can it calculate? No, it doesn't calculate on its own. So we need to use... So this is a good tip for you guys. So whenever a plane does not have its own calculator, you can come here to the Simbrief, and you should have a performance calculator here. It's the same thing from it's the same thing for FS 2020, although you don't have this on the FS 24 EFB. So let's calculate. So it's telling us we're going to go flex 54. So we're going to go for V1 131. VR is 131 as well. And V2 will be 139. And now we got flaps 1. Where's the trim? Where is the trim? It doesn't calculate the trim. That's bad. That's too bad. Well, we'll just set flaps 1, no trim. Yeah, I know. And set flex temperature to 54. Should have done this earlier. Yeah, it's a shame it doesn't have a departure. It doesn't have a departure calculator. So we're gonna go for one up. Let's make it 1.5 as a rule of thumb. Not because it's correctly calculated, but it is what it is. Alright, so we're gonna have a nice headwind of 9 knots, nothing out of the ordinary. So yeah, we just improvise a little bit, but that it is what it is. So let's take a look at our charts and let's call ATC to get us some taxi to the active, which will be runway 12.
At Portugal 660 heavy, ready to taxi to the active.
At Portugal 663 heavy, runway 12 taxi by Charlie.
Yeah,
Runway
there it
12
is.
taxi by
Just
Charlie.
taxi
At
by
Portugal
Charlie.
660 heavy.
So let's reach our SID, which will be 5 Yankee departure. So it's this one right here. All right, let's move to the taxi. Parking brake off. Let's go. After takeoff checklist. After start checklist, I mean, these are all marked. After start, NTI is not required. ECAM status. Cabin still needs to be confirmed. Parking brake are off. I'm getting 30%. It's not moving. So there it goes. Let's go. Trim 1.5. Alright, let's hold here and continue performing our checklists. Not 1.5, only 1.2. Lots of inertia. Alright, so trim 1.5. There we go. Flight controls check. Full left, neutral. Full right, neutral. Full pitch up, neutral. Full pitch down, neutral. Full rudder left, neutral. Full rudder right, neutral. Pitch trim set to 1.5 and rudder trim set to, what is it? Neutral, there it is. After start check complete, let's go for the taxi checklist. Flight controls have been checked. Flap setting 1 and confirmed. Radar and weather predictions not modeled. Engine mode selectors to normal. ECAM memo. It's clear. ECAM memo, we're just waiting for the cabin. Yeah, takeoff speed's too low. I'm sorry, but that's what I calculated. Let's go 135. Just want to make sure. 135 and 140. All right. Now, can we have a takeoff config? Yeah, speed's too low still. I don't know, man. This is all very janky. There's no calculator for performance. We need to use a third party. You saw me using it from Simbrief. We can reset parameters and just populate the weather, populate from last flight. So let's see what it gives me Still 131, 131, 139. So yeah, I don't have a proper A330 calculator, so I'm going to assume this is correct. I also feel that the takeoff speeds are a bit too low, but it's what it's telling me to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set flaps to 2 and see if that helps us. Let's see 140. Let's give me flaps to, yeah, well, it is what it is. It doesn't give me any. Okay, 142, 137, and 130. Oh no, it does calculate it automatically. But I think we just need to set the flaps supposedly. All right, so let's try one more time. Flap. Oh, all right. Sorry about that. All right, we're just waiting for the cabin. Let's call the cabin. There it is. Cabin's ready. All right, so let's turn this on. It's not working, but it's part of the. Turn off the APU. Overhead panel needs some lighting as well. Here we go. This is the Airbus A320 overhead. All right, we're ready. Let's request departure.
Portugal 660 Heavy, ready to go. Runway 12.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, Ponte Delgado Tower, wind 110, and then runway 12 cleared for takeoff.
Runway 12 cleared for takeoff. Air
There we go.
Portugal 662 Heavy.
Nice jet whine sound. Let's take the full length of the runway here. This is not required, but we need all the room we can get. This is a big plane. All right, here we go. Flag set. SRS. 100. Oh boy, is this noisy. V1. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. I said gear up. Here we go. Speed check, flaps 1. 190. Speed check, flaps up. Some puffy clouds up ahead, but just probably some mild turbulence, nothing serious. Keep forgetting to launch the freaking chrono. Sorry about that. Alright, autopilot 1 engaged. Alright, let's clear the plane, flaps up. We're in the soup. Our plane is right here, this yellow little jet here. We need to go all the way up here and then continue on this line. QNH to standard. Done. Passing over the clouds. Beautiful puffy clouds. Betsy is not here with us today, but she is in spirit. Like I said in previous streams, my co-pilot Betsy sometimes shows up, sometimes she doesn't. That's because the developers decide whether or not to use the Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 co-pilot. But she does speak, and she has this beautiful British accent. She's the one handling my comms. Oh, there's a hole in the fuselage there. Look at that. Haha. There's a hole there. Yeah, this is a freeware plane, for sure. Okay, 10,000 feet, speed restrictions off. Let's turn off the landing lights. Final turn to exit this standard departure instrument departure, sorry. There it is turning. By the way, anybody watching last stream, I had an issue with the METAR not updating on the Phoenix. That's a known bug. Phoenix has already corrected that, so that's why I was not being able to update my METAR information. Let's just... we finished this. We forgot to make the lineup checklist, but everything was fine and dandy. Now we just need to concentrate on flying and then for the approach. It's fine to forget stuff as long as you perform them. Well, fine in a simulation world, not in real life. If you just joined us, this is the Star Alliance TAP Portugal Airbus A330 NEO. This is an add-on developed by Headwind Simulations. They use a couple of freeware aircraft. This is one of them. This is A330 NEO based on the A320 NEO from fly-by-wire. So basically they stripped the fly-by-wire A320 and they enlarged it and added some extra performance to make it the A330 NEO. In terms of flight deck, it's close enough. It's not accurate. The overhead panel is not of the A330. So take a nice picture here. Looks very cool. So like I was saying, it's not, the panel is not exact. I'll show you where the differences are in a moment. For a freeware airplane, I flew it already a couple of times to test things out. It's a little buggy. It's not perfect. Performance, I feel like we're going to Santa Maria Oceanic. Let me see.
Contact Santa Maria Oceanic, longitude
122.15. I think this airplane is a bit too noisy overall. Still a bit too noisy. Yeah, engine is a bit too noisy. Alright, well, let's leave it at that. Yeah, it's got hoppy ACARS and same tangents. Just doesn't have Beyond ATC. Well, Beyond ATC doesn't have ACARS, but I need to paste my OP user here. I'll do it later. It's not important. So what flight level did she give us? 410. Let's do that. There she goes. So about differences, well, for those that are familiar with the A320 and A321, of course, the size of the cockpit is the first thing you'll notice. It's a much wider cockpit, although you can't really tell if you're not comparing it, but let me tell you, I've been through the A330 cockpit, the real life one, and I can tell you it is substantially larger. Not by much, but enough to be noticed by the pilots themselves because they enjoy the extra free room. Overall, the plane flies pretty much the same way. Of course, the weights are different. Fuel intake is different as well. Everything about this plane is bigger, but in an overall evaluation, I would say the planes fly pretty much the same. Oh, can't we turn on the backlight over there? Yeah, this backlight isn't lighting up for some reason. PFD and the DMCs aren't working. Map light, console. Yeah. Console is this one, right? So how do you turn this on? Because these are the digits, but this one should control the backlight of the glare shield. Oh, it is working. There it is. Oh, it's just had this. See this forbidden mark? It looked like it wasn't operating, but it is. So that's the first. The space is the first noticeable thing about the 330. Next, of course, comes overhead panel, which right here on this plane, Headwind A330. You see that this is an Airbus A320 panel. The Airbus A330 has a few more pumps on the fuel tanks, fuel pumps. I believe it also has an APU pump. This one does not. It also has 2 external power connections. This one only has 1. The only thing that's really different are these minor things. Of course, the hydraulic systems have, I believe, an extra redundancy, so it has an extra line. Not entirely sure, but I believe it does. This is the problem when you're flying a new airplane and you want to learn it. when the company is just copy pasting it from an A320 overhead panel, you kind of get used to looking at this and believing this is standard, and that's too bad, because that's definitely not a good way to do it. But it's only on the overhead. Everything else appears to be working okay. I would definitely like to have distinct FMCs, so distinct CDU units. Well, CDU is already a unit, so you know, extra keypads if you want, distinct ones at least. So yeah, I like to have the flight plan on the right hand FMC with Copilot, and I'd like to mess with the route on my left side. That's because I fly solo here. It also doesn't have a lot of features on the CDU, so these ATC only work with ACARS from Hoppy. The ATs is not operational, unfortunately. You can send all the requests you want, but you see no ATs report received. That's because you need to be connected with FLIGHTSIM. Some developers have come up with better ideas to have either METAR or the ATs being sent to you via the simulator itself. It's much more useful than not having a connection to FLIGHTSIM and not having any kind of METAR being sent to you. It does have this that you can read here. These are the METARs and you can update them, but it's not the same as having it all integrated into the CDU. It also doesn't have secondary flight plan. That's even worse, I believe, because you might want to create a secondary flight plan just in case you're not aware, or you're not 100% sure of the arrival, or you want to create an engine out procedure for departure. All that you do with a secondary flight plan that you cannot do it on this plane. Everything else seems to work okay-ish. I've noticed a few bugs myself, nothing serious, but enough to put you out of your simulation, of course. But yeah, it works. It allows you to go from A to B with some level of realism. Really hoping for the Aerosoft A330 NEO they're developing alongside with Tolis. I believe Tolis is developing it for Aerosoft, not the other way around. It's going to take a long time for that though. Also looking forward for the Airbus A330-900 from Inibuilds. That's going to be a classic, and I'm going to be all over that. I love that plane. It's a very cool plane from an era where Airbus was consolidating itself as the fine operator or developer manufacturer that it now is today. Of course, the main Airbus is and will always be the A320 family, but the 330 was like a proof of concept that they could enlarge and increase the performance on an A300 to have a 4-engine aircraft. We all know today that the 340 was underperforming quite a bit, so that's why they had the 500 and the 600 with improved engines, because that was the bad side of the 340. Engines were just underpowered for that plane. So you got external tank transfer. That's because it's there it is. That's because it's transferring the fuel into the main wing tanks. Central tanks are empty, so this plane can do a lot of flight time, and we're just underusing it quite a bit. But the logic is the same on all aircraft. You always consume the tips to the center. So if you have multiple wing tanks, you always start feeding from the left to the right, or from the right to the left. So from the tip of every wing to the center, not the other way around. In this case, since we don't have a central tank, we are feeding from the outer tanks to the inner tanks. I can show you here a better frame. So you see, these tanks are filling the main wing tanks, and I believe the there's no fuel on this area, but this tank was either full or semi-full, and it's now filling this one. So instead of sending this fuel to the engines, we're sending this fuel to this central tank and then to the engines, and that's why we have this warning right here, how the tank fuel transferred. Pretty standard. It's all done automatically by our overhead. Not our overhead, but by the computer. What I mean is that everything is set on auto. If I want to disable that, I can press this button here to manual and then activate the pumps to my desire, but that's just in case of an emergency or something like that. Everything's automated. We got a very strong crosswind, 36 knots from the left. Again, nothing serious. So we're already making contrails or chemtrails, depending on the side of conspiracy you're on. So we're spreading chemicals to increase global warming and, of course, attempt mind control around the world. Just kidding. So this is the Headwind A330-900 NEO. I think these wingtips are not correct. Yeah, they're definitely not like that on the real plane. Or maybe they are and I just didn't notice, but I don't think they are. I think the stripes are thinner.
Traffic.
Well, yeah, traffic warning.
Climb.
Oh, we are climbing now. Airplane's responding automatically to a TCAS mandatory climb. You can see the plane incoming from here. Beyond ATC does not do a great job in separating traffic.
Level up.
So we're leveling off. And we should be clear of conflict.
Clear of conflict.
There we go. So now we are going to resume our managed climb. So this was a very good example of how automated things are these days. You just saw an airplane coming towards us with a 200 feet separation. That's well below the minimum. So the minimum distance should be 1,000 feet. So that was way below 700 to 800 feet below the minimum. So the plane responded with a TCAS warning. First thing you'll hear is traffic to get your attention to your ND. Should reduce your range if you're beyond range. And some planes are equipped with an automated response, so it will, if for example if there's a command to climb or descend, it will activate automatically. That's what you saw on the vertical speed indicator. There was a green and a red zone, so the red zone will be a conflicting zone and the green would be the optimal deconflicting zone for a climb. The airplane reacted on its own to climb, and then after it done that, the TCAS warned level off. The other plane just went by and we had a clear of conflict warning and everything was fine and dandy. So we need to resume the automated system by pressing this button here. So the managed climb, there it goes. I'd already pressed the button to climb for manual climb, but now it's on the climb. It's on the climb autopilot, managed climb. Quite a good. Also, max speed needs to be reset again. No big deal on this side, but the point is the plane took over, did what it had to do, and then it sends you back. So if you have anything automated, if you want to go back to automated, you have to have these little balls here, these little orange balls. Say the plane's yours. Otherwise it will give it back to you and you decide what to do. Most of the times it's quite simple, but yeah, quite a good example of how TCAS work. So I guess Sundays are not that good for flight simming because from what I see, there's only 3 viewers. Reaching the top of climb in a moment. Not getting the top of climb arrow, but here it is. Flight level 410. We can turn off our seatbelt signs. Let's leave it on auto. So we are out of the departure. So we're going to go through Gimal, which is a very standard approach out of Ixoli to Gimal. So we are going to perform something like this, and then turn to runway 28. At least that's what's planned. Gimal 7 Alpha via Jepti, so let's look at Jepti here. So this is Gimal 7 Alpha. Actually, we're going direct to Gimal 7 Alpha and then all the way here, then the Vinal. I believe Jepti is on the other side. It's really weird. Is this the correct approach? No, this is 7 Charlie. I need 7 Alpha. What am I doing? There it is. Sorry about that. There it is. So there's Jepti. This is the one I wanted. So Gimal, FR604, and Gepti. Gepti is like the go-to point to approach directly to runway 28. It's pretty much straight in approach for outer Gepti. So pretty standard. As for the approach itself, we're expecting an ILS Zulu, but we will never know. So you see it's a pretty much, there's Jepti right there, so you see it's a pretty much straight in approach. We're going to need to make a slight right hand turn from 274 to 282. As for the approach itself, standard 3-degree descent. We got decision height of 200 feet, radar or 218 barometric. So I'm going to assume that these are refreshed. Actually, no. So this is from yesterday. What's going on with the meters? This is 20. So yesterday at 8 o'clock Zulu time. So this is very, very outdated. Let's see if I ask for another one. Can I write here? No, I can't. How does one refresh this? No, this is not it. Alright, so LPPD. No. Something fishy about this electronic flight bag. LPPD. What about T? Nothing. LPFR. Third digits is not going in. Yet another bug. So you see that stuff we need to handle. Let's see if it refreshes. No. No. LPPD. Ah, there we go. LPPD. Although I didn't write it, it just refreshed. Alright, so let's this one doesn't do anything at all. I'm trying to delete the letters. Nothing. So this meter is outdated for sure. 100%. So I'm going to need to load my meter elsewhere. We are coming up on the top of climb. Here we are. Flight level 410. Is Beyond ETC still connected?
Portugal 660
Yeah, it is. So meters aren't being updated. I do have an external program for this, but to be honest, it seems something where the source for these METARs for Flight Simulator are coming from, there's an apparent issue here. So let's go for our alternative. So this is only for people that have a Simbrief account. So let's press LPFR, search, and there it is. So current METAR is, and these are the last few, but this is the current one, 21, which is today, 1600 Zulu, wind 340 at 1. Just look at the differences so you can see how dangerous this is. So we're expecting 280 at 11, and the actual is 340 at 15, so almost northbound. It's like a slight crosswind from the right when landing on the runway 28. KVOC is alright, and temperature 24, this is temperature 28. QNH is a dangerous lower QNH, 1016. So you see, these are the dangerous. Expect to fuel on board below limits? How by how much? Probably 0.1 kilograms. So 100 kilograms or something like that. Not serious. We'll see. These planes are not meant to fly this close to between the lakes, so it's normal to have that warning. And since we are already pulling fuel out of the external tanks into the main ones, it means that the main tank probably should have a little more fuel in it. But we'll see. No big deal. Alright, so let's input this data. Performance. So QNH 1016. Temperature 28, sorry. 28. Not 208, we'll be dead by then. 28. And magnet, it's 340 at 15. It's quite windy there. Transition altitude, I believe it's 4,000 feet. This needs to be in the database. So barometric, we are going to make it 200 radio. So it is standard for most of the Zulu approaches. If we maintain runway 28, we'll see. It's crossed, but it still favors, I think, runway 28. Yeah, so these are my last flights. So you can see this is the previous flight I've done testing this particular Headwind A330. So there are 2 flights with the LEAP engines from TAP Portugal, who's also doing a couple of tests. And this is the actual last flight on the A350. Actually, no, one of these flights was the flight from Madeira to Azores. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the, alright, so this is the flight to Nook. This is the flight out of Nook. This is the flight to, this one went to Stockholm. This one went to Lisbon, and this one went to Madeira. No, there's one flight missing here. That's odd. I don't remember. Oh, wait, this is the airframes. No, it's not the flights. These are the airframes I've saved to use later. Yeah, sorry. So this is the flights, not the show history. Here we go. Now we're cooking. All right, so here we go. So I probably did more than one flight more than one flight plan for the same flight, because I tend to make corrections, or I create a flight plan in the morning, and then when I go fly I need to remake it because the winds and the ETOPS calculations need to be redone. But here we go. So we did, let's start here. So we did an Iceland Air from Toulouse to Keflavik. Yeah, Keflavik. So you see that I created a flight plan at 16:43, and then I created another at 17. It's actually not. It's the same flight plan. It's just saved 3 times, and for some reason it thinks it's just one. It doesn't take it's just one. It takes its 3 distinct flights. So from Keflavik to Nuuk. First I did it on an A321, then I decided now let's do it on an A321Neo. Then out of Nuuk to Stockholm. This was my mistake. I decided to take the 1000, but then I changed it to the 900. Then out of Stockholm to Lisbon on the 777. Same flight as you can see with the difference of minutes. These are 2 distinct saves. Then from Lisbon to Madeira, and from Madeira to Ponta Delgada in the Azores. This one was done on an A321Neo. This is A320 CEO, and this is the current flight. Also saved twice. I prepared the flight in the morning, and then I took the flight after 2 o'clock. I've been trying my best to reduce the number of flights that I create for each flight, but Simbrief does this all the time. Every time you save, it thinks it's a new flight plan. So it's a cool way to view a flight is to come down here to the very last pages. You can see not just the flight itself, but you can also see the weather. So perfect clear weather all the way. The winds are predominantly dominated from the north, so you got a slight left crosswind. Same with altitude. So this is at flight level 300. This is at flight level 340, and this is at flight level 380. So we'll probably be between this one and this one. And the winds don't change that much. They just change in speed most of the time. So you see the predominant winds are more or less from the north, right here, northwest predominant. There's also nice information about the runway, the flight maps we've already discussed, and then there's the NOTAMs. So let's see NOTAMs for Faro Airport. First there's the weather. Actually, these are not the NOTAMs. There they are. No NOTAMs available, so nothing serious on Faro. We can look at our alternate, which will be Lisbon. See if there's any active NOTAM out there. So let's see what NOTAMs we got for Lisbon. So aircraft parking information on stand 412 is out of service. So there will be a marshal. This, of course, does not affect Flight Simulator. This is real-life operations from 17 September. And it should have the duration of the out of service. So another NOTAM, aircraft parking information, APIS on stand 806 is always unserviceable. It means that it's working, but it's not working correctly. Unserviceable. Then we got Advanced Visual Docking System for stand 804 is also out. This one's really out of service. A lot of stands out of service in Lisbon. I mean the docking systems. Then we got unmanned aircraft will take place area bounded by whatever. So this is drone activity in Praça do Comércio at 800 meters AGL and 100 meters AGL. And what there's more, crane erected Campo Novo. There's a supplement for the AIP. All of these are from earlier this month, so it's pretty cool to see these things because they reflect real life operations. And everything that you see on the NOTAMs is relevant for aerial activity, but may not be a considerable danger. It's just an information like there's some working being done on the runway or something like that. So they inform the pilots of that. So this is the interactive map. You can see your flight plan. You can also take a look at the weather, I believe. Maybe not here, but I definitely there was definitely a way to see the weather en route on Simbrief, at least before it did. You can see the ETOPS zone, if applicable. You can also see the SID stars available. So all these colors belong to different SIDs and stars, so you can make a quick decision whether or not you need to change. Really helpful. What else? We got the layers here. So we got Simbrief layer, Voyager, positron. We can remove the grid lines. We can insert the high VFR charts, the low VFR, the IFR charts, the VFR charts, and of course the world map. This is just an isometric map, gives you some altitude warnings. You can also see the FIRs, so the boundaries for flight control boundaries. Yeah, it's pretty useful actually, and it's all here on the electronic flight simulator electronic flight bag. But if you don't have Flight Simulator 2024, you still have a menu option here that will open a window that will function with all these little gizmos and gadgets for you. Of course, you also have that performance tool, which you saw earlier gave me some very wrong speeds. So probably because the file, Headwind A330-900 file, is outdated. Probably. I wonder what this is. Notifications. Never noticed. I don't know what that is. As for the electronic flight bag itself, it's also pretty good. If you import your route like I did, it gives you the flight data. It also gives you the information, the visual information of every single waypoint. You can also change your flight settings, flight details. It's not relevant for this particular flight because we're not flying multiplayer, but if we were, it would be important. This is also the weights and all that. Never touch this. If your plane has an electronic flight bag, never touch this here. Don't add passengers or fuel or anything like that. This is the written flight plan, and these are the alternate charts. What are these? So you notice that I have Navigraph charts. Let me make a comparison for you. I've shown this before, but it's just for those that weren't paying attention. So these are the Navigraph charts, all right? So they're supplied by Jeppesen, renowned worldwide company. And hello Andrew, how are you? And if you subscribe like I do, you get the updated charts. So this is a 24 May 2024. Doesn't mean the chart is outdated, it just means this is the latest available chart. If there are no changes to the procedures, then the chart doesn't need changing. If you go to any other chart, you'll see the dates may be different. Let's see. They're all from the same, probably same last update. So this is from 5 July 24. And let's see this one. This is from 24 August 2024. So if there are no changes, doesn't mean it needs to be changed just because. And so this is the latest chart, 23 August 2024. Now, it might happen that a newer chart could be released tomorrow, for example. This works with ARACs. Yeah, Andrew, 74 is still far from 100 though, but we're getting there step by step, little baby steps, I suppose. So these charts from Jeppesen are Navigraph charts. They're not intended for real life navigation, but they are updated with the same updating schedule as the real charts. And so monthly, you'll get these charts updated, just like a real plane will get their AirAx updated. If you go here to your FMC, you will know that, where is it? So there it is. Your active navigation data is set from 4 September to 2 October. So this is updated and it's current. And so is the secondary nav data. So the same thing with the charts. We know that by subscribing to Navigraph, you'll get both the nav data and the charts updated with real life data. Now, if you don't want to subscribe to Navigraph, you don't get this on the EFB, but you do get this on the MSFS 2024 own EFB. And this is what you get. These are the Lido charts. And let's pick one similar. Let's pick the runway RNAV. Let's go for Faro. Let's go for the stars for runway 28. All right. So these are the Lido charts. You can see how different they are, because for the star charts, you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different charts. You see here on the Navigraph. On the Lidos, they're all condensed. So you see, for example, Odemi 9 Alpha right here. Odemi 9 Alpha. See? You want to see Marim 7 Alpha? Let's see Marim 7 Alpha. Right there. So I prefer the Jepson approach, to be honest. I prefer to have things separated so I can see my approach as distinctive as I can, even though even Jepson kind of mixes multiple approaches. So right here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different approaches on the same chart, even though they are divided in other 6 charts. Right here we have every single possible approach. We got Marim 7 Alpha, General 8 Alpha, Nirak 7 Alpha, Chimal 7 Alpha, and Odemi 7 Bravo. All of them for runway 28. If I picked another runway, another chart will show me approaches for runway, for the opposite runway. So for runway 28, we got every single possible approach. Whereas in Jepson, you get, for example, this one is not a good example because it's also very well condensed. But you can see that it's only bringing me the eastern hemisphere of the approach. It does not give me this western hemisphere. So it doesn't give me 9 Alpha, 7 Bravo. It only gives me Gimel 7 Alpha, just like I have here. Gives me Nirak, also right here. General, right here. And now Marim right there. It doesn't give me these these two, all right? And this is a good thing because it kind of declutters the information quite a bit. Whereas the Lido charts, it kind of condenses stuff too much. The only thing I like about the Lido charts is the color codes. So it has a much broader color code. All charts are colored. Not all charts from Jepson are colored. It does have the altitude information also colored. It's not to my preference, if you want. I believe that the Jepson are a better read, and like I said, this approach, this airport right here is not a good example. But if you pick up a very condensed and very dense airport, you're going to have a hard trouble finding a route in Lido. I mean, you'll get there, you'll understand how it works, and you'll get there. Again, I prefer these color codes. I prefer how the approaches are well signaled with the restrictions and the name of it. Whereas when you come here to the Jepson, you can see that the approach is here, but it's harder to read. And if there are too many condensed ones, it's kind of confusing to look for them. That's the only advantage I see in the little charts. But if you, there's my plane right there. It's still far away, but it's already picking it up. But if you're in a hurry and you want to find your chart, I think that in certain conditions, maybe not Faro is not the best example, but Jepson will definitely, you see, this is decluttering it. So it declutters information quite well, and it gives you one chart per sector if you want, whereas the Lido will give everything it's got. And I think that's not a good procedure because it can condense stuff. Can also have night light. Can yeah. But here's the major difference. This one is paid by subscription. This one's free. Which one would you take, right? So this one's free, and that comes with a slight caveat, is that this one is not updated as frequently as this one. So this one's updated monthly, sometimes less than that if there's an addendum, a supplement. This one is updated whenever Asobo and Microsoft decides to, and that may take quite a while. I think there's a great compromise, because you can see here that this one's from 23 August 2024, this one's for 29 August 2024. That's because Lido may updated the chart later than Jepson, but the information, as you can confirm, is pretty much the same. What I'm trying to say is that even if Microsoft and Asobo don't update the nav data that regularly, most of the times you'll be alright, because airports don't get updates every month, so you'll be alright. Even if it's outdated by a month or so, maybe the changes are not that bad. It's critical for ILS approaches, of course, but it's not critical for stars or SIDS, not at all. By the way, there's no approach plate for these airports for some reason, but there's a general approach plate for Faro with general information. So you see here, there's JEPT, the one that we were talking about. We got ILS, CAT 2, but it doesn't give you any performance charts, any decision height, doesn't give you nothing like that. Unless I'm misreading it, but let me see. So these are the runway lengths and landing systems. Yeah, there's no approach. Yeah, this is just general information on the runway with a general heading for all the SIDS and stars. If you want an approach chart, you come here, you pick the one you want. So this one right here, you see just one approach per runway, per type and per runway. You don't have anything of the sort here. Unless, of course, you can change whatever this is. Oh. No, you can't really change the chart. Oh well. So this is the aircraft information. Flight performance checklists. Of course, you have our electronic checklist, but if the plane is well implemented into Flight Simulator, you'll have also the electronic checklists here. We got our pilot information. I have way more than 55 hours to be sure. It's just 55 hours on this installation of Flight Simulator 2024, because this is a second computer. And I had another computer with Flight Simulator 2020, Prepared 3D, and even X-Plane 12. So overall, I have way more than this. Plus, if we have to add my entire flight simming career, then this is like a hair of the entirety of my flights over time. It's general information, so you can make your tablet small, medium, or large. You can make it horizontal, vertical, whatever. Speeds in knots, feet, you know, all the standard stuff. And then you have the extras. It's good to going to Lisbon Center now, so.
Santa Maria Oceanic, Air Portugal 663 Heavy, good afternoon, flight level 410.
We're still on Santa Maria Oceanic.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, Santa Maria Oceanic, identified.
It's at center. but it's still Santa Maria. We got a flight planner. We can plan our flight, our aircraft pilot book settings. These are these 4 items here. And then we got the electronic flight bag for Phoenix, which of course is not compliant with the current aircraft, but we can duplicate our side EFB here so we can carry it around with us. We got the Navigraph charts, which is a bit different than these right here because we can navigate on the entirety of the charts, and we can even make different flight plans. We can see the telemetry. It works like a standalone system. We can actually plan our next flight here while we're flying the previous one, which is really remarkable. We can turn on telemetry and this will sync with our airplane, but we need to have another thing running on the on our computer running flight simulator. So it's not working right now. So pretty cool. Coming back to our Navigraph, for our EFB more apps. So we got the Simbrief. So same thing, but this one's different. While Navigraph charts is general, so it allows you to, you know, create flight plans, whatever, and gives you the full length of the Navigraph charts available. The Simbrief is only a flight generator, so you can still look at the flight you just created. You just can't browse around. So let's imagine with Navigraph charts, you got a standalone system. You can actually program your next flight, blah, blah, blah. You can check and verify every single chart there is about every single airport around the world that it simulates. With Simbrief, you can only do that for the 2 or 3 airports. So the departure, the destination, and the alternate. And this is where you create your flight to import to Flight Simulator. You can't really do that on Navigraph charts. You can save the flight and then load it on Simbrief, but and the other way around as well. But you cannot really use Navigraph charts to say program everything and then import for your aircraft. Simbrief is a different system, but uses a Navigraph database. If you catch what I'm saying. All right, and with this, we have reached halfway, I believe. Still a long way to go. Let's go outside and appreciate this beauty of a plane. We got a top of descent right there at 320 nautical miles away. So let's just turn on Trek IR so we can see our plane a little bit better. There we go. So this is the Star Alliance Airbus A330. So for those that don't know, Star Alliance is an alliance. It's not for us. Star Alliance is an airline group, so it's an alliance of airlines actually. And what they do is they have code sharing and passenger privileges. So let's say you fly TAP Portugal. If you fly on another airline from the same Star Alliance group, you can use the same miles. Well, it depends, but you can save. So let's say you're a regular flyer on TAP Portugal, you gather flight miles, so you can use it on your next flight, like a discount, like what's it called? A loyalty program. That's the word I was looking for. So there's a loyalty program for flying TAP Portugal. You're a member of the Star Alliance group. You can use the miles you gather with flying with TAP Portugal and use on any other airline from the same group. There's also lounges on airports. So instead of building one lounge for TAP Portugal on all airports, they have one Star Alliance lounge where every single airline that belongs to the Star Alliance and you fly into, you can use those lounges. And there's other privileges, so it's like a club if you want. And there are multiple clubs like these, quote unquote. There's One World, where British Airways belongs to, and that's one. And there's Sky Team as well. I don't remember anymore, but there are plenty of different airline groups. So Star Alliance is probably the bigger one, the biggest one. Not entirely sure. If TAP Portugal gets acquired by a KLM, one of the things that passengers or frequent flyers will lose is the Star Alliance membership, because KLM and Air France are not part of the Star Alliance. You can just easily Google Star Alliance and see what airlines belong to it. So apparently flight is uneventful. A lot of things not working on this cockpit. The blinders aren't working. I don't know if the door opens. I don't think it does. Nope, doesn't look like there's a click spot for it. Well, at least you got second jump seat working. So one thing I've noticed is that this plane has a tendency to do this, goes up and down, kind of trying to keep the altitude. This is a bug for sure. It's not really serious, but it's coming up and down, as you can see. I'm not touching anything. So you see my stick is steady. It's just going up and down on the trim. So yeah, at this time it will be a good question from anyone watching. If what is my appreciation for Headwind for FS 2024? Well, I would say wait. I'll probably not fly this plane for a while after this, because I see too many bugs. Not being a native plane for Flight Simulator 2024, the bugs are quite evident. This is one of them. You see the trim going up and down. There are ways to solve this, but I don't think they could. Let's see if no, there's no way to stop this up and down attitude. Oh well. Like I said, just wait. Wait for the for a future update on this plane. It's definitely buggy. Too many bugs, too many missing features. Still got that weird looking overhead panel. This is an A320 overhead panel, oversized overhead panel. It used to be a lot worse. It used to be a tiny overhead. They enlarged it to accommodate for the bigger size of the 330 cockpit. But yeah, it's not a good rendition at this moment. As we all know, the flight simulator can be very expensive, so having this level of freeware aircraft is actually pretty good. But like always, don't expect it to be study level like PMDG, Anybuilds, or Phoenix, or FlightSim Labs. Those guys are another completely different what's the name of it? You know, it's a completely different level of modeling and all that. Ballpark, that's the word I was looking for. It's a completely different ballpark. So regarding Headwind A330NEO, if you have it for FS 2020, and if you have FS 2020 installed, yes, great plane. Freeware, still limited, Still has the weird overhead panel, but I flew it quite a lot and I liked it. It wasn't perfect by all means. It wasn't like a paid module, but pretty good for $0 or €0. But if you want to fly in a study level with all the systems working, full depth, full realism, then maybe skip this one for now. They are quite dependent on what fly-by-wire A320 guys do. So fly-by-wire is also a freeware program. So this plane is based upon the fly-by-wire A320. And like I said, they are dependent on fly-by-wire. If fly-by-wire doesn't update their plane, don't expect this one to be updated either. That's pretty much it. But as you can see, it's oscillating quite badly, and we're not getting that much performance if we keep doing this over and over. Let's see if by turning now things will get better. Probably not. When this happens, it's most likely due to CG calculation error, center of gravity. Now it's Lisbon Center.
Contact Lisbon Centre 119.55 Air Portugal 663 Heavy. Lisbon Centre, Air Portugal 663 Heavy, flight level 410.
So for those that don't know, Lisbon Center controls all of the Portuguese territory, including Madeira. Santa Maria Oceanic controls Azores and a good huge chunk of the North Atlantic. So you see the top of descent right there at 240 nautical miles. Still a long way to go. I believe this scale is also wrong. I believe either there's one missing range here, because I think we should have 160, 240 and then 320, but here we got 160. You can see closer. So I believe there's one ranging missing. So I believe it should be 160, 240 and then 320, because this looks very limiting for the type of aircraft this is. Flies long range. We are still oscillating up and down. So you might say, why don't you complain to the developer? Well, number one, it's freeware. What are you complaining for? It's not like you spend money on this. Number two, they always said the plane was developed for Flight Simulator 2020. I'm flying it on 2024 at my own risk. So I've already found a very saddening, if I would say so, features. The landing gears aren't detailed. The fuselage is also not well detailed. Engines look chrome. I mean, you can't really see it now with this perspective, but once you zoom in with at ground level, you kind of get the feeling the engines are chromed. There's a lot of missing features. The front doors don't open, and they don't look well modeled, to be honest. They look kind of askew. Something's not correct here. It's like this door is painted on where this door is actually modeled in. Yeah. That SATCOM now antenna doesn't really look like the real one. It looks like a bulge where the other one has a distinct shape to it. What else? Yeah, the fuselage is all smooth. There's no. The doors are flushed, which isn't really the case. I mean, they should be flush. What I mean is that we're going back to Santa Maria again. Ah, different plane. 209 kilo. I don't even know if this has a cabin. I don't think it does. Let's try it out. Famous last words, right? So 1, 2, 3. What's our bet? Does it have a cabin or not? My bet is doesn't have a cabin. Let's see. Here goes nothing. Psst. Oh, there's something resembling a cabin, but it's all. And I bet you're gonna look at the ground now. Psst. Oh. Oh, there's containers, cargo holds, and there's a rear galley. There's a landing gear. There's an cutter hold. This is the mid galley then. Mid galley. There's emergency exits, I think, probably. It's just to give us a nice wing view, I suppose. And then there's the landing gear. You can see how poorly designed it is. Everything is just basic. I mean, we kind of get used to the big developers, right? And we are expecting the same from everybody else. And when that doesn't happen, I myself, I don't blame anyone. I'm just sad because I really wanted a good A330. But a lot of people think they're entitled to complain and say, wow, this should be better, or I'm wasting my time with this. Well, yes and no. If you're looking for a high degree, high level of simulation, well, you're probably wasting your time looking at freeware stuff. If, of course, it's a small team and they don't have like the 3D models done, they need to do it themselves, and they lack the team, they lack the time. If you're paid to do something, motivation is quite different, as I guess, and you guys guess as well. Motivation is quite different if it's a payware stuff, and that's why you get people like Phoenix, FS Labs, Anybuilds, PMDG. They're very motivated because they're great sellers. They have these great airplanes to sell, and money from the A350 will pay for the A340 that comes next on the Anybuilds. Money that comes from the CEO family of A320s will now feed the A320NEO project for Phoenix, and so and on and on and on. If you ask me if a freeware program or freeware plane should be as developed and as updated as every single other airplane out there, of course not. There's just no motivation to do that. There's only passion from those that build it. And in that regard, you shouldn't expect more than the best possible. The best possible, not the best there is. Because even with payware stuff, if you think about it, Phoenix, for example, took them more than 5 or 6 years, I think. I don't remember when Phoenix was released. Was released for MFS 2020, so maybe 5 years. Took them 5 years to just add the weather radar. They had their reasons. They said the weather radar in FS 2020 and 24 wasn't working correctly, and it isn't, generally speaking, because Asobo decided to build it in such a way that it's not correct. But anyway, it is what it is. Other companies had it. Phoenix took 5 years. Do you think they couldn't have had it before? They probably could. It was just not a priority. And they are being paid to do that. Headwind A330, this plane we're flying, does not have a weather radar. Do they don't want to add the radar? Of course they do, but it's different. It's not like they're being paid and they're prioritizing other stuff. They just don't have the time, the resources, human resources. But even worse than that, they're dependent on what the original fly-by-wire A320. So fly-by-wire is a freeware company, and they build the A320, and they give away the API, so the software development kit for their module, their add-on, for other people to use, and Headwind is one of them. They have another plane that also uses the fly-by-wire source code, but they're dependent on what fly-by-wire can do. So imagine you're a freeware company dependent on another freeware company, and that freeware company does not develop the plane as fast as you would like to because they don't get paid, because they have a small company. They do it for passion. Same thing happening here. And let me tell you something, anything that's done for passion, I'm on a rant here, I'm on a tangent here, nobody's actually talking to me, I'm just talking out loud. If you're passionate about it, good on you, because there's not a lot of people in this world that are passionate about any subject, and they do it for fun, and they do it thinking about others, like not charity, but you know, actually wishing to contribute to the community. These guys, Headwind, they're the greatest, one of the greatest examples, just like fly-by-wire guys, great examples of how you can give back to the community. I've worked, not at this level, but I've worked with painting liveries for planes for Flight Simulator 2024, FSX, and Prepared. I've never charged anybody for my paint jobs, and I did quite a few. Not a professional painter like Hughes, but I do paint some planes, and I give all my paint jobs away for free. Never charged. Why? Well, I thought this community flight simulation has given me so much. Let me give back some, and that's what I did. And I think these guys from Fly-by-Wire and Headwind are doing the same. But never once I felt that I was obliged to do it. Never once did I hear someone say, hey, you should do this paint job. And if there was someone like almost reaching that level, I would certainly not respond at all, because if you do it for the community, you do it for the community in your own time. It's not an obligation. It shouldn't be. So that's why I will not complain about the issues with this plane. But I will be honest with you, it's not ready for FS 2024. It looks good at distance. It flies good at distance. But once you read between the lines, once you go into the details, you'll notice that it's seeping out of the cracks. Some ooze sipping out of the cracks. It's completely normal. This plane is not developed for Flight Simulator 2024, the simulator I'm flying here. So this is on my own risk, I suppose. So you see here now, if I switch to 240 nautical miles, I would be well within the next waypoint, but there's no 240 miles switch here, so only a 160, and 160 is just too short. So I don't know if you guys are watching, but how are you, Andrew? How are you, Jose? How are you, Dinesh? How are you guys? If you're watching, of course. Anybody else that is watching, you feel free to chat. I sometimes go on wild tangents, especially if no one's talking with me, like today. Remember, if you want to win FS Labs A321Neo, you can read this video description below to know how to win. And if you want to support the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link up in your upper right corner. That's a QR code. Just scan it with your phone, you get a link. That link will lead to my Buy Me a Coffee page, and you can buy me a coffee. Any donation helps. I want to buy more add-ons to review. They're all very expensive. If I can get an extra help to do so, I would appreciate it very much. There's been some fine contributions already, which I think Andrew, Jose, and also Richard, 3 fine donators to this day. Donors, not donators. Donators doesn't exist. Donors. So please leave a like, subscribe, also share with your friends if you really like what you're watching. If you're Portuguese, you can also speak in Portuguese if you wish. So you see that we no longer have an EFOB warning because now the expected fuel on board is 5.4. This tends to change with performance. So now we have a tailwind, and that's helping us save fuel. That's calculated by Simbrief. So Simbrief calculates the winds over distance, over between departure and arrival. And if there's tailwinds, for example, it might reduce the fuel quantity. But until it reaches that optimal cruise and optimal wind direction, it might get you a low fuel, a low EFOB warning, low expected fuel on board warning, but that's only temporary if the calculations are well performed, of course. So this is wrong. There's no such radio call sign Portugalia. I'll explain why it's saying Portugalia. So Portugalia is a Portuguese airline company, Portuguese company operator that flies TAP Express. So TAP Express is not operated by TAP itself, it's operated by Portugalia. It has a different management, a different career progression. So it's a different company, Portugalia. But on the radio, everything is TAP. So TAP Portugal is TAP or Air Portugal, and TAP Express is also Air Portugal. So that's not correct from Beyond ATC. I've tried to warn them about it, but they're so entangled in so many different stuff. They never fix that until now. But I will keep on trying to see if they can just bring TAP Express call sign correctly. It used to be Portugalia until a few years ago when TAP Portugal purchased them. So that's why they still call it Portugalia. Oh, wait a minute. You see here, this is the 160 ring. 120, sorry. I thought there's a repetition here. It's not. It's correct. So this is 160. And now this is 160. It's correct. So remember, guys, if you want to help the channel, buy me coffee, upper right corner, QR code. If you want to fly in style, you want to fly the FS Labs A321, I still have a key to give away for MFS 2020 or 2024. In order to win, you need to help me reach 100 subs. And of course, come here to the chat and tell me why it should be you winning it. Also remember to leave a like and subscribe, share the stream with your friends if you like what you see.
Contact Faro approach 119.405, wire 8481.
Sorry about that. I'm gonna mute myself because no one's talking anyway. Thank you all for coming. If you're watching this afterwards, the live has only one watcher right now. Thank you for keeping and staying around. Single viewer. It's a bit disheartening to see that this kind of live stream is not attracting a lot of attention. So I don't know what to do. YouTube just doesn't care for newcomers. They don't promote my videos, my live streams anywhere, so it's a bit disheartening. Bit sad, to be honest. So I'll just mute myself for now on.
Contact Sevilla, Center 118.275, Agent 17 Sierra. Kilo 7 Alpha, runway 28 Air Portugal 662 Heavy.
Galileo 5780, contact Navigraph Casablanca radar 125.1.
Center on 125.1 Galileo 5780.
Channix 42 Lima Yankee, Lisbon Center, expect a Logi 5 kilo, runway 28. Expect a Logi 5 kilo, runway 28, Channix 42 Lima Yankee.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, approaching on top of descent, ready for descent.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, Gimbal 7 Alpha, runway 28 descent, flight level 100.
Kilo 7 Alpha, runway 28 descent to flight level 100, Air Portugal 663 Heavy.
Window 1 for Whiskey Victor, contact Madrid Center 118.275.
Center on 118.275, weather 1 for Whiskey Victor.
For those that don't know Portugal, that's Ponta de Sagres. Sagres. It's a worldwide famous point where the Portuguese discoverers crossed. It's the last piece of Portuguese land before they departed to conquer the Africas, the Indias, and South America, Brazil. So that's an historical point, the last piece of land the navigators would see before embarking on the long stretch of months in the sea to conquer the world, actually. Regardless of what people nowadays think. There are really nasty things done during the discovery times, but it was a time of adventure and discovery, and we owe a lot to these first conquerors that flew around. No, didn't flew, they navigated in small little wooden ships around the world, discovering new places, new cultures, new experiences. Portugal was once upon a time one of the world's biggest superpowers, on the shoulders of these brave men that sailed to the unknown, literally. Now there's 0 people watching this. It's always fun, I suppose.
Descent to flight level 050 in Portugal 662 Heavy. Descent to flight level 120, Lima 35 Yankee November.
Portugal 663 Heavy, contact Faro approach 11.405.
Contact Faro approach 11.405 Air Portugal 663 Heavy. Faro, Air Portugal 663 Heavy. Good afternoon. Flight level 098 with Charlie on board.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, Faro approach, QNH 1016, expect the ILS Zulu runway 28 for jetty transition.
QNH 1016, expect the ILS Zulu runway 28 with a JT transition.
Nice JFT approach via ILS Zulu, exactly what we programmed before. No change required. We have turned on our landing lights below 10,000. We're now descending to 5,000 feet. Getting ready to do the approach checklist. This will be an ILS approach to runway 28. We are at 1 hour and 46 minutes, give or take. I say give or take because I launched the chrono after takeoff, so there could be a few minutes added in. A couple of minutes, no more than that, 2 to 3 minutes.
663 Heavy, descend to 3000 feet, QNH 1016.
Descend to 3000 feet, QNH 1016 Air Portugal 662 Heavy.
There's the Algarve. Our runway will be somewhere over there. It's incredible we're not idle while descending though. "4,000 feet. We're going to go for the QNH, which will be 1016. There it is, blinking. 1016, and cross-check. Approach checklist, please. Bar reference 1016 and cross-check. Seatbelts are on. Minimum is set to 100. Radar altimeter. Auto brake set to medium. Engine mode selector will be set to normal as required. Approach checklist complete. We descended a little bit too fast. We should have descended 3,000 feet at this point, somewhere over here. The VNAV is not the best on this plane. It just calculates the fastest rate, which shouldn't be the case. And as you can see, it's still oscillating to maintain altitude. Same thing as while cruising, so this aircraft does need a lot of work before it's compatible with FS 2024. Fully compatible, I mean. Still flies okay, but this cruise attitude is not good. So it's oscillating up and down constantly, unable to keep at a certain altitude. VNAV is all over the place. Definitely not approved yet for FS 2024. I wanted to do this live because in the preliminary tests I found yet other issues, but I thought, well, maybe VNAV is okay, but in order to do that I would need to make a full flight, which I didn't. But I thought, what could go wrong? Well, Murphy's Law. Again, Headwind does not state this plane is compatible to FS 2024, so I tried this at my own risk, and my conclusion is yes, it's not compatible yet. I mean, about 70% compatible, but the 30% that it's not yet compatible is quite significant. External model, flight model, overhead panel. I mean, that's not the 2024 issue, but you know, the plane's not ready at all. It's very early stages, I would say, even though Headwind has stated that they were working hard to update this. So I'm very confident. That's why I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt for this flight and a few next that I may do with this plane. So guys, before we go into the approach, I need to plug in one last time. If you guys want to fly in style, if you want to fly the FS Labs A321Neo, what am I? You guys know the drill. Read the description below. So you want to help the channel, buy me a coffee. QR code, upper right screen. I believe Chanix is Jet 2. Nothing beats the Jet 2 holidays. Again, the plane descended too fast for the managed descent we were supposed to be, so we are 4,000 feet below where we should be at this point, so we're spending a lot more fuel unnecessarily because VNAV just miscalculated the descent. I've done all of that with autopilot on, so it was not my hand doing that. I just pressed manage descent. So that's why it's taking a lot longer to perform this approach. So, guys, honestly, aside from the fact that I'm doing this during the day, and usually I do this on the evening, be honest if you're watching this, what's wrong about this flight to have just 1 or 0 viewers? I don't get it. I mean, the plane isn't the best, but procedures are here. I'm trying my best. You guys saw an emergency procedure early with a TCAS alert. Maybe there are more interesting destinations, I don't know. I honestly don't know why. Is YouTube blocking? Did no one get the notification I was live? I don't get it. It's not like I do this exclusively for the views, but I'm doing a live stream with nobody watching or 1 or 2 people watching. Again, is disheartening. So right now, 0 viewers in no one's watching, so might as well just
1,500. Air Portugal 662 Heavy, bye bye. Faro Tower, Air Portugal 663 Heavy, ILS Zulu runway 28.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, Faro Tower, continue.
Roger, Air Portugal 663 Heavy.
Faro Tower, continue. Roger, Genix 42 Lima Yankee.
1,000.
Blue Max 35 Yankee November. Exit next available taxiway.
Exit next available taxiway, Blue Max 35 Yankee November.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, wind 350 at 15 runway 28 cleared to land.
Runway 28 cleared to land, Air Portugal 662 Heavy.
Hundred above. $50, $40, $30, $20, $10, $5.
Portugal 660 Heavy.
Thank you, Jose. Was a bit heavy.
Wind 350 at 15 runway 28 cleared to land. Runway 28 cleared to land, Genix 42 Lima Yankee. Air Portugal 660 Heavy, contact ground 118.58, bye bye.
Ground 118.58, Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye.
118.58, Air Portugal 660 Heavy, contact ground 118.58, bye bye.
518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal 660 Heavy, bye bye. 518.58 Air Portugal Air Portugal 663 Heavy, request taxi to Sankey.
Air Portugal 663 Heavy, ground 455 taxi at pilot's discretion.
Band 455, taxi at my discretion. Air Portugal 663 Heavy.
Channel 14 Lima Yankee, RAM 210 taxi at pilot's discretion.
RAM 210 taxi at my discretion, Channel 14 Lima Yankee.
Where the heck is RAM 455? There it is. Give me that, follow me. Here comes the follow me.
All aircraft be advised, information Delta now current, QNH 1016.
Striped line 455. few bugs. This electronic flight bag keeps locking. See, it's not working. Keep pressing these buttons, nothing happens. So I can't request ground power. So I need to request via GSX and hope it works.
Passengers bus is coming.
So guys, welcome to Faro. Still no external power. Come on. How about now? Can I move out of this freaking menu?
Passengers deboarding starting.
Nothing. Nothing. Pressing any of these buttons doesn't work. What if I reset all checklists? Can I go there? No? No. Completely borked. Nice. So, electronic flight bag is a mess. Also, this ECAM status is bogus because we just shut down our engines. So, anyway, welcome to Faro. Wasn't the best flight ever. But at least we got where we wanted. So I apologize if I seem a little bitter, but I'm observing like a decrease on my viewership, and I honestly don't know why. So it really beats me. I suppose it's either the content or the planes I choose, I don't know. But it really is disheartening, and it kind of makes you wonder if it's, you know, it puts everything in question. So I'll really think about the format, if this thing isn't working. I know it's a Sunday, but the viewership decrease is quite significant since my first videos, when I started using a different approach. So I'm not sure what happened. I'm not sure what is happening still. External power. So also when we have a plane that's not working correctly, it kind of compounds things, I suppose. Now it works, thank you. Oh my god. GPU. So yeah, so now close the door for some reason. Thank you all for coming. Like I said, I'm going to need to think well on what I should do next.
Bus is coming.
It's not easy to do things, and people just don't seem to enjoy it, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, Andrew, Jose, Dinesh, and anybody else that came to watch, thank you for coming. And I hope to see you next time, if there is a next time, we'll see. Cheers.
Passengers, the boarding starting.
I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high. Climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soared into the